Okay, imagine this. You're setting sail into the great unknown on what are literally the most advanced ships of your time, only to vanish completely. We're about to dive into one of history's most chilling and persistent mysteries. It's a story of ambition, of ice, and of a silence that has just echoed for over a century and a half. This is the Franklin Enigma.
Human ambition can crumble against the quiet, relentless ice. You know, that one line, it just perfectly captures the heart of this entire story. It's such a powerful reminder of the forces at play when we as humans try to push into the most extreme corners of our world.
So our story kicks off way back in 1845. This was an era of supreme confidence, of exploration. The British Royal Navy was at the absolute height of its power, and they put together this state-of-the-art expedition with one massive goal: to finally, once and for all, chart the legendary Northwest Passage through the Canadian Arctic.
And leading this incredible charge were two ships, the HMS Erebus and the HMS Terror. Now, these were not just any vessels. They were bomb ships, built tough and heavily reinforced to handle polar ice. They were packed with the latest tech, things like steam engines, and had enough food and supplies for 3 years. They were, without a doubt, the pinnacle of naval engineering. Everyone thought they were pretty much invincible.
So, with a crew of 129 men, the expedition sailed west. They were last spotted by some European whalers up in Baffin Bay. That was in July of 1845, and they were heading right into that labyrinth of Arctic islands. And then, just like that, they vanished into the fog. They literally sailed into a complete and total silence.
What happened next has taken generations to piece together. But the terrifying turning point, the one thing we know for absolute certain, was this: they became trapped.
Yep, the ships and all 129 crewmen got caught fast in the shifting, grinding maze of sea ice. Their cutting-edge vessels suddenly became their prisons. And that grand ambition? It just dissolved into a desperate, brutal fight for survival, leaving behind, well, nothing but a mountain of unanswered questions.
So years turned into decades. Dozens of search parties were sent out, but honestly, the mystery just got deeper. But slowly, very slowly, fragmented clues started to emerge. Think of them as whispers from the frost, things carried through local Inuit oral histories, and some really grim discoveries made by later explorers.
So you have to wonder, what exactly did they find? What were these fragments that began to paint this horrifying picture of the expedition's final days? And what kind of theories did these early clues start to generate?
Well, the fragments that did turn up painted a pretty grim picture. We've got accounts of things like frosty journals and local stories that hint at widespread disease, most likely scurvy. Of course, with the trip lasting way longer than anyone planned, dwindling rations became a huge, life-threatening problem. And a more modern theory points to a hidden poison, lead, possibly from the solder that they used to seal their canned food, which could have slowly poisoned the men, maybe even driving them mad.
Now, this is where the story takes a major leap forward, thanks to modern archaeology. Discoveries on a place called King William Island revealed a final, desperate campsite. And this is where the story really shifts from a seafaring disaster to a brutal overland march for survival. The evidence they found here, it just speaks volumes.
And this just brilliantly lays out the sequence of events that archaeologists have managed to piece together. So first, the ships get trapped and are eventually abandoned. The surviving crew then set up a campsite on the incredibly unforgiving shore of King William Island. From there, they began a desperate retreat south. And the evidence for this? Discarded personal gear, tools, and, this is the most heartbreaking part, a lone boat found miles from the shore, which they'd apparently dragged over the ice in a completely futile attempt to reach safety.
You know, even with the absolutely stunning discoveries of the ships themselves in our lifetime, the Erebus was found in 2014 and the Terror in 2016, the full story is still so elusive. The Franklin mystery lasts because it's a puzzle with so many missing pieces, and it's just an incredible testament to the brutal, raw power of the Arctic.
And this really is the ultimate question, isn't it? Was it starvation? Was it scurvy? Lead poisoning? Or maybe some awful combination of all three? Or something we haven't even thought of? The truth is, no single theory seems to perfectly fit all the evidence we have. And that complexity, that's what keeps this mystery so incredibly captivating.
And so we're left with this really haunting thought. More than just a story of failure, the Franklin Enigma is a story about the limits of what we can know. It's a powerful reminder that some questions might just never be fully answered. Because the Arctic landscape guards its secrets with a cold, patient, and absolutely relentless silence.